We have 4 modules for fire protection 2, right? This module will go for 6 days all the way from Sunday to Thursday, and then we'll go again on next week Sunday. Monday will be exam for you, right? So there are 4 modules. The first one we have automatic sprinkler system. Uh, it will be totally based on NFVA 13, and this module will take maybe 2 days or 2.5 days because we have a lot to cover with the sprinkler system. So here what we are going to discuss, right? We are going to discuss only the introduction to the sprinkler system and the installation requirement. The design parts for the sprinkler system will be in a fire protection design course, which one after this course, right? And the plan review for the sprinkler system will be under plan review course, which will be at the end of the class. Sorry, at the end of this program. For the special extinguishing system, we have covered the clean agent system, system, wet chemical system, and dry chemical system. And the last one is water mesh system, which is a totally different case as for NFPA 750. Then we will go to introduction to fire extinguishers. We'll take this course will take maybe 1 day. We'll discuss everything related to the fire extinguishers based on NFPA 10, design requirement, selection requirement, inspection, testing, maintenance, and all those information we can get one. And the last, the foam system maybe will start next week someday because covering module 1, second, and third will take almost 4 to 5 days. So this last module will start next week on Sunday. Okay, so this is all about the overview for this class. And if you have any question, you can ask so that we can move to the section directly. So the title for this module is Introduction to a Sprinkler System, right? So these are the guys who works for the sprinkler system in the beginning of the development of those system, right? The first guy was Leonardo da Vinci. He he designed a sprinkler system in 15th century, right? 500 years ago from this time, and those systems didn't work well. They installed the sprinkler system in the kitchen area of their restaurant, but when the system activated, so much quantity of water came that all the food and everything washed away along with the water. So he was the first guy who installed the sprinkler system in 15th century. Then came the Ambrose Godfrey in 1720, and he created the first successful automatic sprinkler system. He used gunpowder to release a tank of extinguishing fluid, right? The first, the first recognized sprinkler system was installed in Theatre Royal in United Kingdom back in 18th century, 1812, by its architects, right? What they used a cylinder with some 100,000 liters of connected to 10-inch piping, and from there the water goes to all the parts of the theater. The first automated sprinkler system was patented by Philip W. Pratt in 1872, and this sprinkler system was modified by Henry S. Parmalee in New Haven. And this guy really was right. You have lots of information in your book if you want to study those into the history, right? Into page number 14 and 15 in our work manual, you can see from there. Friedrich Grinnell was the guy who improved Faramali design in 1881 and patented the automatic sprinkler system back by his name. So this is all about the development of sprinkler system from the early age to this up to late 19th century, and you can see lots of information in our manuals, and also you can internet regarding history. Okay, so coming back to sprinkler system, right? The NFPA 13 is the standard for installation of automatic sprinkler system, right? And this is one of the standard to install a sprinkler system. So NFPA 13 will never tell you that where to install a sprinkler system in the building, right? Which building required a sprinkler system and all, because this requirement. So NFPA 30 is classify sprinkler system design based on the different hazard, which starting from light hazard, ordinary hazard 1 and 2, and extra hazard 1 and 2. So this system, NFPA 13 designed based on that, a single fire scenario, right? They have designed a sprinkler system based on this criteria that the fire will, just wait a moment, I think. So this was based on, sorry for the delay, actually there is one guy. So NFPA is the standard for installation of sprinkler system, right? So this system was designed based on a single fire scenario. What is the meaning of the single fire scenario? That in the building, right, when fire will happen, we have to design only in some hydraulically some design area, right? And for design area, we need is water at sufficient flow and pressure to fulfill the demand and fighting the fire. So this is the chapter 1 to 4 is the foundation chapter. Chapter 5 is for the classification of occupancies and commodities, right, which is very important for designing a sprinkler system. Our designing of a sprinkler system is start from this right, chapter 5, because we have to select a hazard, whether it's a light, ordinary, or extra hazard based on the various parameters, and we have to select the classifications, right? After that, chapter 6 covered for the hardware, right? So it's generally talking about the listing requirement, approvals, and all those criteria, types of the system use and all. Chapter 7 for the system requirement. Chapter is for the installation requirement, right? So this chapter a little bit the number of pages with this chapter is a little bit higher, right? And so in this chapter we'll get all the information regarding the installation requirement. So what should be the distance between two sprinklers and distance from the wall? What should be the piping requirement? How a sprinkler system will install in the slope ceiling, or different criteria will be there. We can discuss in chapter 8. Chapter 9 is for the support, right? Hanging, bracing, and support of the system. Chapter 10 for the underground piping. And 11 is for design approach, which is very crucial, right? So we have to go for chapter 11 for design approaches. 21 is now this is totally based on storage occupancies, right? So from here to all the way up to 21st chapter, is based for the different storage, different requirement and criteria. Chapter 23rd talks for the plan and calculation, right? So your plan and calculation of the system should be based on chapter 23rd, and 24 is for the water supply, 25 for the acceptance testing. Suppose you install your system and before the uh, put the system into the service, we have to go for the acceptance test for the marine system, and 27 is for ITM, inspection, testing and maintenance of water-based sprinkler system. So if whenever you're reading a code or standard from NFV, right, you always see something like this, 6.2.9.5 and 1, right? So the meaning of this is that, you know, the code is written in a such a way that we have to go directly to the sections if we have some information, right? So 6.2.9.5 meaning that the first letter 6, it is for the chapter. So it means that they have written something from chapter 6 chapter 6 section 2 subsection 9.9 and paragraph 5, right? There might be a sub paragraph and this is a parenthesis. This is how we have to read the books, right? So the first one is will take you directly to the chapter, and second one to the specific section. And here we have the bracket and asterisks, right? So some information on NFPA book, right? And they have given the bracket. The meaning of that is this reference they have taken from some other standard. Let me come to a conclusion for you. Suppose they have given you some information from the fire pump in the NFPA 13, which is for the sprinkler system. So they will just put the bracket and 20 and the edition. So this they have taken this from NFPA 2019 edition. This is. And there are some of the official definitions in NFPA code. We have to follow that one. We have to understand the meaning of all the words, right? The ASJ stands for the authorities having jurisdiction, which is like in our Saudi Arabia, it might be a civil defense, SCIS, Saudi Aramco Law Prevention Department, or any private company facilities within there. They have might have some owner of the company comes under the ASJ. Approved means some of the material which is approved and acceptable to ASJ. Means you are the one who is controlling the construction at your site and you are approving some material, right? So that is the meaning of the approved. Shall means is mandatory, right? It shall be. So what shall in NFPA code anywhere, it means it's mandatory. You cannot leave that one. And should means like it's a recommendation but not required. I recommend you to galvanize your sprinkler piping, right? It is our recommendation to galvanize the galvanization of the steel piping, improve the quality of the pipe for long years. It will not get corroded easily for long time and to last for long years, maybe up to 15 years or 20 years without any kind of the problem. So this is the meaning of the should. Listed means included in a list published by an organization, right? You will listed product. You have a fire protection system at your facilities. You must see the marking, UL marking or FM. So that is the meaning of the listed, right? So listing means, suppose this is your company, you are making some kind of the fire protection product, any kind of the valve. You have to send your materials to other testing facilities. This is now maybe it might be UL or FM Global, something like that, or any locally acceptable uh, the testing agencies. So they will check the quality and accuracy of your product. After that, they will put their marking, right? So if you are making one sprinklers, right, and you send your sprinkler for the testing and marking of the sprinkler system, right, based on some UL or FM Global, the sprinkler system is getting fused, and what is the maximum water profile for the sprinkler system, how it is, what is the behavior for that, what is the accuracy, what is the construction feathers, the materials, the finishing, everything they will make, and then they will list, yeah, and your product is approved by our organization, right, to EWEL or FM or any kind of the other industries. This is the meaning of the listing of the product. So generally speaking, right, the sprinkler system consists of piping, water supply, valves, water flow alarm switches, and the drain, right? So always a sprinkler system, as for NFPA 13, a sprinkler system designed based on a single fire scenario, right? You have to select one fire area based on the hazard classification, right? If it's a light hazard, what is the maximum area as for NFPA 13, chapter 11? So you have to select those area for the fire protection system. Let's say, and those hazard areas should be the those must far away from your fire pump, the most remote location. So if you are looking into this picture, which one is a must remote location? Either this one or this one, right? The one which is at much far distance where we need more pressure and flow, right? So we consider that one as a remote location, right? So we have to understand that this area, we consider that side or this side. A sprinkler system designed based on a single fire scenario, right? Fire will originate in a building at a single time. Either fire will start at this location or this location or this location or anywhere in the building, right? There will be only one time scenario, right? The fire will, let's say fire will start at this area, the sprinkler system will activate and extinguish the fire, or it will start at here, or it will go at this location, or it will go at this location. But it must be a start from a single point. So installed properly in those areas, the fire sprinkler will activate due to the heat and it will extinguish the fire. So fire will never start at multiple times in a single instance, right? So there should be at least a beginning of every point in a fire. And if someone is playing, right, there might be some threat or some kind of the terror activity. They want to destroy the building. That is another scenario. Maybe they will set a fire in at the multiple location at one time, so the sprinkler system will not activate. Sprinkler system will not working properly because if all the sprinkler system installed, all the sprinkler system activate at the same time, because we design only for some design area with sprinkler containing around from 4 to 12 number of sprinklers based on the different hazards. Yeah, Muhammad Asiri, did you got the point?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so this is the must remote location. The distance of the sprinkler system is much far away from the fire pump room. So coming back to the application of a sprinkler system, right? we can install inside a building, or even we can install the outdoors, right? It might be for the commercial or residential building. As for NFPA research, and they said that the fire in the death in case of the fire in most of the civilian death in case of the fire was reported in worldwide. I think their report is from the USA. 87% less fire death rate occurs in sprinkler protected building. So the building which is protected by the sprinkler system and the building which is not protected by the sprinkler system, right? Those cases the fire, right? So in sprinkler building only, sprinkler building, the death rate maybe is less than 87. As for the US code, right, in United States, sprinklers are required in all high-rise and underground building where 23 minutes above or below the fire department access. This is one requirement from the building code in the United States, that they said if any building is higher than 23 meters or lower than below the fire department access, they need that is inadequate for firefighters to go inside the building. So those buildings need uh, sprinkler system. Again, this code we don't have to follow this one. We have to follow Saudi building code, life safety code, and other kinds of the available code in our area to get the idea regarding the installation of a sprinkler system. Mostly, NFPA 13 will never tell you that this area needs a sprinkler system, right? No, at all. They will say only how to install the sprinkler system. Either building code or life safety code, Saudi building code, international fire code, or other fire code accepted by the local ASJ in those area.
Uh,
Yes.
so,
Your voice is not coming clearly.
mhm. What about now?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
So when I want to decide if I want to install a sprinkler system or not,
Yeah.
think?
I think there is some breakage in your voice. If you want to install, if you are here to my voice, what is your question? How I will decide that this building requires a sprinkler system, right?
Yes.
So this is based on the building code, the life safety code, or Saudi building code, or international building code, IBC, or maybe IFC. So those code will tell you that which building requires a sprinkler system, right? So let's say
Mhm.
that the height of the building and the area of the building is below their limit, right? The area in square feet and the height in meters. If it is below their limit, we don't need a sprinkler system. So regarding those selection, you have to we have to carry on the life safety code and the building code in the buildings.
Uh-huh.
This sprinkler system for the outdoor also. You can see there is a transformer, right? This transformer is protected by deluge valve, and this deluge valve with open sprinkler. Yeah, we don't have closed sprinkler in the deluge valve, right? We have the open sprinkler in the deluge valve. So if there is a fire, there will be a smoke detector placed inside the deluge areas. It will detect the fire, and they will open the deluge valve to supply the water. Once the water valve open, once the valve and suddenly it will cool the area. So the idea about this one is, right, the all the sprinkler will be open. This might be used for transformers, vessel, pumps, compressors, and all kind of the application in the industrial facilities like petrochemicals and all those areas. So more than anything, protection of light should come first, right? If we survive, we will be safe. Clarity of the sprinkler system is the it saved the lives. It reduced the number of death in occupied building installed with the sprinkler system. The second one, it caused potential losses in half, right? Once there is a fire in let's say if there is a fire in some warehouse, big retail outlets. Recently, I think 1 week or 2 weeks before, there was a fire in Amazon warehouse facility in USA, and everything was destroyed almost. So if you have installed the sprinkler system correctly, right, as per NFPA guidelines, so in those areas, fire sprinklers are capable of reducing property damage, injuries, and death by more than 50%. So if there are a sprinkler system, we have 50% less chances of loss, life loss, and other kind of the injuries. Sprinklers contain the problem before it rages out of the control, right? So if there is a fire, right? If there is a fire in a building, and due to that, a sprinkler system, it will activate at some temperature. Let's say at 0 second fire start, the heat from the fire getting rise in the top of the ceiling, beneath the ceiling, and due to the convection, now heat transfer due to the conduction, convection, and radiation. So when there is a fire, heat will go up into the ceiling, and those heat travel by the convection. At that location, it will transfer heat to the bulb of the sprinkler by the conduction. So it will take some time to activate the sprinkler system. Maybe it will take 90 second or 60 second, or let's say whatever, as tested by the sprinkler company in their lab. So by that time, smoke and fire intensity will be high. So the sprinkler system have the problem before it is out of the control, like a smoke detector, right? Here, smoke detector, heat detector, and flame detector. The moment there is a fire, they will detect the fire and activate the fire alarm system, right? So you will hear kind of the flashing equipment, right? Emergency equipment to go out of the building.
Mr. Ravi,
Yeah.
sprinkler must be connected with the fire alarm, right?
No,
Or fire
no.
panel.
Sprinkler system will be only connected for the supervision, but there is no connection with the fire alarm for the sprinkler system activation. Yeah, there is a flow switch installed in the sprinkler system that if there is a fire, sprinkler activated and water started flowing from the sprinkler system. At that time, when water started flow, there is a water flow switch. It will activate. It will give a signal to the fire alarm panel that there is a fire, and that will activate the alarm in the building, or they will notify the other person to understand what is happening inside. Likewise, it is just a interconnection, like supervision. Those sprinkler systems supervised by someone, because if there is a fire, someone should know that there is a fire. If there is no supervision, fire alarm panel, fire will start, and those fire will go. Maybe even the fire extinguished, the sprinkler system will go continuous. Without once the system activate, we need to close the valve and replace the sprinkler, right? Uh, Fire alarm panel. It is just interconnected for the supervision.
Okay.
So some movies in Hollywood, they said that when the actor is running inside the building, they see the fire, they will just put the manual call point and showing that once I put the call point, fire system activated. No, it's totally wrong. They are teaching the wrong. There is no relation with the pulling the manual call point and activating the sprinkler system, right? So it is totally different than that.
Yes, no, not all sprinkler open.
Yeah, no, only every we will discuss that. Every sprinkler have some thermal element. A bulb,
One
it will,
sprinkler, if it have fire just in the fire area, sprinkler
yeah,
works.
exactly. Yeah,
Not
exactly.
all the,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
exactly. This is your point. So what a sprinkler system do, right? It detect a fire. Right? In this figure you can see there is a fire beneath these sprinklers, and due to the heat, this activated, and these two sprinklers only finishes the fire. The next that all are not activated because the heat must not travel to this area by the time fire extinguished. Right? It sound an alarm. Right? So the alarm check valve, there is a somewhat mechanical strobe. It will give some sound, right? Like when water started flowing due to the hammering of water, there will be some sound. And if there are the flow switch, right? These are the flow switch. This is an alarm, right? Connected to the piping. If there is a flow switch, the flow switch will tell the fire department team or fire control panel that they will come to the site, and they see the situation of the fire. It fight the fire and minimize the impact of fire. It's try to minimize the impact of the fire. Out of the fire in a building, right, protected by the sprinkler system, 95% in 95% cases, as for the research, the sprinkler system activated the fire, right? 10% time maybe the sprinkler system will not operate and the fire is not extinguished. The reason is that, what is the reason for that, the 10% failure of the sprinkler system? If you guys are working with the ITM or with the facilities, you must have known this. Yeah.
Yeah, sometime could be painting or painting the heads of the sprinkler, or sometime isolating the sprinkler system riser.
Exactly. You should never paint the sprinkler system, right? But must some of the time they used to paint the sprinkler system, or the riser control valve will close. ITM, inspection, testing, maintenance is must for the sprinkler system. If you install a sprinkler system and for 5 years you are not maintaining the system, after 5 years if there is a fire, the system will not work. So the 10% deficiency is that you have not. And as for the NFPA 25, which is inspection, testing, and maintenance requirement for the water-based fire detection system. So we came now to types of sprinkler system, right? We have 4 types of sprinkler system: wet pipe system, dry pipe system, deluge, and pre-action system. We'll discuss all one by one in detail because we have to cover a lot in those 4 requirements. Wet pipe system normally required in area we have chances of freezing is not common. Like in Middle East, we are limited to the wet pipe system. And this system is used worldwide. More than 80% of the sprinkler system is a wet pipe system, right? Because in area where there is no chance for the freezing, right? So this is the first one. The second, dry pipe system in area where we have freezing temperature, right? Where we cannot put water all the time into the system. If there is a water, it will convert to the ice at 0 degrees Celsius or below 0 degrees Celsius. The flow of water.
Like Mr. Raf, like the barrel, wet and dry barrel, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like those barrels. Yeah, same. We have if there the chances of the freezing, we have to go with the dry pipe sprinkler. This is the one case. Even in Saudi Arabia, also we are using dry pipe sprinklers. Could you guys let me know which is the location we can use dry pipe sprinklers? In which case?
Use ice system in places that there is a possibility of ice
Yeah,
for
formation.
water, like
Mostly in the
refrigerators or
refrigerator storage or in store the product for the food and all industries at minus temperature, minus 0 degrees Celsius and below. So we can go with the dry pipe sprinklers in those areas. And the deluge system we use to protect in area where there is a highly flammable atmosphere or combustible material are stored, right? When there is a fire, the fire grow within second to much extent that two or three or four sprinkler will not enough for that one. So in deluge system, all the nozzle are open. There is no bulb. So if there is a fire, the detector will be there in the same area. Those uh, they will open the valve, the deluge valve by the signal from the fire alarm panel, and it will activate, and the fire will be extinguished. The pre-action system in the last, this is limited. It is a limited installation. Like worldwide, maybe less than 5% of the installation are the pre-action areas, right? Where we want to ensure that the sprinkler system will not uh, activate without fire or mistakenly, right? Suppose your system is, you are inside your room and playing with something, maybe sometime water without fire, right? Or if there is a maintenance in a building and the workers are using the ladder and going around all the building, at that time they might break. So water will come from that area. But with the pre-action system, we have some locking system, right? So if there is a fire and if there is a breaking of the sprinkler system, those two needs to be activated for delivering the water. So what are the application in this area where there is, because of water, the product which is stored inside the building, which will be damaged and very costly without real fire. Like let's say the museum, right? The very old museum, they restored lots of the book, lots destroyed by the waters without fire. That is not a good thing, right? The first one. Or you can use in the telecommunication rooms, right? In the data center, in those area, you might can use that. We don't want water to activate without any real fire, right? If there is a fire, everything is destroying. At that time, the system will activate. But without any fire, the system will not activate. And what are those criteria? We'll discuss that all one by one. So the wet sprinkler system is the most common one, right? Worldwide, it's the very we need very the looking up. If you are looking at this wet sprinkler system, right, from the image here, the number of accessories fitting and all is very less compared to the dry, deluge, and pre-action. So the more you go to the dry side and deluge side, we will get more number of accessories and all, which is very costly and it takes lots of effort. You can see in this figure, right? This is a general schematic of wet sprinkler system, right? We have connections from the underground fire water networks all the way. There is a T, we connected to a riser, right? We have here the isolation valve, which we need for the maintenance. We can close and do the maintenance, and then we have the alarm check valve. At the bottom alarm check valve, we have a drain valve, right? Main drain valve, and we have the fire department connection soon after the alarm check valve, and we have a water flow alarm system, right? So this is the most common worldwide. We can see where there are no chances for the freezing. So if there is a fire, right? Let's say there is a fire and this sprinkler system activated, right? This area sprinkler system will activate in this area of the fire. The moment water has started flowing, right? The moment water has started flowing to the piping, here we have a water flow alarm, right? From here, it will make sound because it's a mechanical gong. Due to the water hammering, we'll see some sound that there is a fire areas. All the way right at the bottom, we have a main drain valve, just connected to the alarm check valve, right? So the function of the main drain valve is that, system into the service, right? We have to drain the water and again we have to go from the beginning to set the system into the service. This is the first one. The second one, when we have to do the testing of some inspection testing. While doing the testing of the system, right? While doing the testing, that let's say there is a water flow switch into the system. We want to know that once we're discharging the water from the system, right? After how many seconds the sensor detect the flow of water and giving the signal, and we are hearing some sound. So the inspector can and if you remove this area, just one instant, we have a fire department connection connected all the way at the top of the risers. After the riser, we have a fire department connection at this location because we want water to go on the riser upward side, right? We want water to go to this direction. We already have checked also water will going to the back into the main. It will go only up the way to the risers. Check valve. You can see there is a black spot. We call it the check valve. The check valve must be the fire department connection. Otherwise, if there is no check valve, the water from the sprinkler system will go all the way to the fire department connection, the 2.5 inch CME connection or fire department connection. Maybe by time to time there might be leak at that location, and the force from the water may break. The force from the water may break those areas. And this is this we have a IT valve, right? Inspector and inspection. Yeah, the benefit of the main valve is if you want to discharge the water from the system soon after a fire. Let's say there is a fire into your building, right? And once the fire extinguished, you come to the site, you have to replace the sprinkler system, and then you have to put the system into the service, right? At that time, you have to remove all water from the system, right? And then you have to close the drain valve, and we'll follow the procedure of the piping procedure, the alarm check valve the system putting into the service. Those service will use as per the requirement of the different data sheet by this should be provided by the company. This is the first, to drain the water. The second one is that suppose you are a inspector who want to inspect the system, what is happening with this fire protection system. You want to inspect that there is a water flow switch. Now I discussed in the beginning that when there is a fire and water start flowing into the pipe, water flow switch activate, it gives the signal to the fire alarm panel, so that, and those fire alarm panel will activate some sound that there is a fire at this location. Someone will go to the site and they will check what is happening. Okay, so to know that if those flow switch is working properly, or what is the maximum time in second that system valve, when you open this main drain valve, the sound should come within 90 seconds, something like that. So once we open this valve and water started flowing, we hear that after how many seconds the water flow switch activated. To know the correct functioning of the alarm devices, we need drain valve at this location. This is the second purpose. You got the point?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And here we have one inspection test valve at the most remote location in the last, right? It is the last one in the piping. Once you install your fire protection system and you're putting into the service, the ASJ, if you are a civil defense guy, a civil defense representative, you want to go to the go to inspect the system, you have to go with this test and inspector test valve, this valve, right? And you will measure how much flow and pressure coming at this location. What is the flow and pressure at this location? So normally inspection test valve come with all things together, that we can measure what is the flow coming from this one and what is the pressure we are getting at this location. So now the opening of this, this must be a 1 inch inspection testing valve, but the opening inside the valve is only for the equal to the K factor of, let's say, 5.6, or so the opening of this one will be exactly to the orifice size of the sprinklers. We want to know that if one sprinkler system activate and water started flowing, how much pressure and flow coming from one sprinkler. This is what our idea. So if we got at this location, right, we got at this location, let's say 20 GPM of the flow at 20 or 30 psi, or the pressure and flow at this location is must be higher than this one, right? This is the idea about the inspection test valve.
Mr. Rabi, can you just repeat again this inspector test valve about the sizing of the valve? It need to be matching with the orifice size?
Yeah, exactly. It should be the matching minimum should be as for the orifice. When we open this valve, right, we want to make sure that how much flow and how much pressure we are getting at this location. So based on this input, we can assume at the most remote location, we are getting this much flow and this much pressure. And then we can support that at this location, which is at highest point from this one, we get enough pressure and flow, right? Normally, sprinkler system required minimum pressure 7 psi to activate to work properly. At the minimum 7 psi to give you 15 GPM. A sprinkler system, a sprinkler system giving us 15 GPM at 7 psi if the K factor is 5.6. This is a basic rule. If you have a sprinkler of K factor of 5.6 and pressure we are getting at those locations at 7 psi, will get 15 GPM. So this orifice K factor should be 5.6, and at that time, if the pressure is 7 psi, at this pressure goes higher, the flow goes higher. So this should be at least minimum equal to one orifice side of one sprinkler. Got the point?
Yes, yes.
Mr. Rafi,
Yeah,
I'm
and
sorry,
again,
but what about water
yeah,
flow alarm?
at this one, right? At this location.
Water
Yeah, we
flow
knew.
alarm.
We knew valve to test the flow of the sprinklers and all. At the same time, we have to measure the water flow also. It should be activated. If it is not activating, means we have to check the water flow alarms, switches, and all device. When water begin flowing, the water flow alarm must start. Yeah, exactly. They want to measure the flow also, and they want to measure the water flow alarm, if it is coming or not. If it is coming, what is the maximum second it is taking, right?
I am sorry, not clear.
I'll explain it again. Just wait. Suppose you open this valve, right, and water has started getting flowing from the system, right? When flow begins, the water flow alarm will activate, and is connected to the fire alarm system, right? The fire alarm control system will get some input that there is a fire, so we can get information at the fire alarm panel. That's the water is flowing from this water flow alarm. And also, no, this is water flow alarm. It will, if it is a mechanical alarm, right? Mechanical water flow alarm with motor and gong. When water started flowing inside the system, right? The mechanical alarm gang is like that, is a bell shape materials with inside there is a curve shape. There is a curve shape inside that one, and water will come at one location and go out from the other location. So when water is inside the system, it will rotate and strike the internal blades, and due to that, those blades also strike the caging, which makes some sound. So if water we discharging the water from here, the water flow alarm will also getting activated when there is a flow in the system. Now, if there is a water flow switch, right? If there is a water flow switch at this location, this flow switch also activate. When there is a fire, it will activate and it will give input to the fire alarm panel that there is something into this. So with this test connection, we can test the flow and pressure at this location. The sound we are getting from this water flow alarm, it's very basic. It will come from there. But the more important, we are on the activation of water flow switch. After how many seconds the switch activated and giving signal to the panel. Got the point?
Yes.
Okay. So here we have the basic arrangement of wet pipe sprinkler system, right? This is the schematic from the underground network. We are getting water into the system all the way of this location. We have the gate valve, right? Water supply control valve, and then we have a alarm check valve. And from the top, we have a fire department connection coming from this line. Now, wind waters. At this location, we have a alarm valve with trim, right? And here we have a retard chamber. And this retard chamber connected with the motor alarm, water motor. We will discuss that one in this figure because this is the same exactly the real figure we will get easy. So here we put the valve. Yeah, Ahmed.
Yes, I have a question. Why we need a fire alarm switch? Since we have smoke detector that will tell us and initiate the fire, the alarm at the beginning. Why we need this valve?
Some buildings, some of the warehouse, warehouse not require smoke any kind of the detection system. It is not occupied. If the warehouse which is not occupied, only someone is going during time of the taking some product, right? Not there is no one inside the area all the time. So those warehouse don't need the smoke fire alarm system not required in those areas as per the building safety code, life safety code and all, right? What is the purpose of the detector, a smoke detector in this building which is non-occupied and protected by the sprinkler system? We are simply wasting the money for the contract and all. What is the idea behind that? You protect the building with the sprinkler system, right? And put a flow switch, water flow switch into the sprinkler system. The flow switch just hangs inside the piping. When there is a fire, it will give a signal to the fire alarm panel that there is something happening. If someone is monitoring those sites, right? This is the one case.
Hmm.
And you got the point. So we don't need detector in a warehouse.
Yes.
The building which is not occupied, we don't need detector. Yeah, this is the other case. Most of the contractors put the detector in the warehouse also because they want to earn money, right? The client doesn't know the exact requirement. They say we need this finger system, you need detector.
Mr. Rafi.
Hello. Actually,
Yes,
there was
Mr.
connection
Ravi.
issue. Yeah, there was connection issue from my side. So network just go on for some times. We will discuss with this figure, right? And from here we are getting water from underground fire water networks, and this is going to the fire protection system. Today's finger system, all this finger system, right? Now the pressure at this one and the pressure at this one is almost the same. More or less, it will be the same. This one we can see at this location, right? This is a drain valve. It is same that we were discussing in the question, that you will just open a drain valve from the system, the water will started flowing and will hear some sound. Or this drain valve used for also draining water while the system maintenance. If you are maintaining your system, you need to drain water, so we can drain from this area all the water from the system. And this one we call retard chamber, same like this one, a retard chamber, right? And top of that we have a switch. This is also a pressure switch, but this is not installed in the main water line, it is installed on the retard chamber. So what is the function of retard chamber? Most of the time in the fire protection system, might be there will be chances of the fluctuation in the pressure. When pressure goes up and down, if you are taking water from underground fire water networks or municipality supply, the one we discuss a lot regarding the fluctuation in the pressures. So if pressure goes up and down by time to time, the motor alarm will activate. It will start making some sound, and this we have a pressure switch. It will give the fire alarm panel. If we don't install the retard chamber, we'll get and false activation information to our constantly attended location. Like, if there is a multi-campus style facilities, we have different sprinkler system into the different building, and there is a one security team who is monitoring everything, what is happening inside those facilities. So if there is no real fire and the system get that, we need they have come with idea with the retard chamber. Those retard chamber will just maintain the pressure, that those fluctuation inside the retard chamber will be maintained, and this system will only activate when there is a real fire, when the water flow will go high, and so those system will activate. And this is a alarm, motor alarm is like something, if you have seen at the site, motor alarm, there is a circular space, and inside there is some metal blade. So when water started striking this blade, right? So the faster the water, the faster the sound we can hear, like ah. Sorry for that. So this wet pipe system clear, right? Yeah. You guys are able to hear my voice? Okay. Moving on to the wet pipe system, right? This is a basic drawing, right? We have the closed finger head, we have a test connection at these locations, the alarm valve, the wet pipe system, and the system drain, right? Here you have the system drain to discharge the water from the line. we have to install the wet pipe system. Already we discussed in the area where there is no chance for the freezing, right? Heat open the sprinkler system and retard chamber prevent the sudden pressure surges in the system, right? The valve, right? This gate valve, you can see here the valve. It should be supervised. It should be supervised and monitored by the tamper switch. Now, what is the tamper switch? That if you close a valve, uh, it will give. It is connected to the fire alarm panel. If you try to rotate the valve, it will after 2 or 3 turns, the system will activate that someone is closing the valve. You know, the most of the time a fire protection system fails in a time only when there is a fire and main control valve is closed. If the valve is closed, water is not getting to the fire protection system, and then the fire grows and the system will not work. So why this area, this should be supervised. Tamper switch, this should be supervised by the tamper switch, that no one can play with that. The one I was discussing for the IT test valve, right? Here we have inspection test valve at the end of the system to simulate flow from a single head, right? The single sprinkler, and to measure the system response. System response means when I started flowing water after how many time, you know, there is an alarm, or after how much time the water flow switch activated. Okay, now we come back to the dry pipe system, right? Dry sprinkler system. We need this system only where we have chances for freezing. We discussed a lot regarding that one, but again, those applications are unheated house, parking garages, store windows, attic spaces, loading docks, and all kind of the areas exposed to the freezing temperature, right? In those areas, water fill pipe cannot be utilized. Now, if you are having a look at this figure, can you see the cost of this product compared to the wet pipe system? Right? The cost is very high for this wet pipe system because of the complex accessories and arrangement. We have another pressure gauge, a small compressor at the top. Yeah, it's much higher than the wet pipe system. We have a small compressor at the top, and we
With the
yeah
gas, nitrogen gas also.
yeah there here, yeah, it's mixed with the nitrogen or air. We have a compressor at this one. This is a compressor, right? This is a riser mounted compressor, but most of the cases we will find a central compressor providing water to all those areas. Yes, we need a compressor. It's a costly system.
This is not used in Middle East.
This is used in Middle East in location where there is freezing temperature, like cold storage or refrigerated space. Right? We are using this for a special
Saudi Arabia.
service. Yeah, it is used in the service of Saudi Arabia where we have cold storage, right? We need to store our product at freezing temperature, right? So the quality of the food will not destroy. We are using those areas. In some area where we need temperature always in minus, right, in Celsius, we are using this sprinkler system. Must not common for the common other than the storage. We are using for the like store areas and all those.
Storage area.
Like cold storage, or let's say refrigerated space, right? In those areas we need that one. But normally to protect the fire protection, to protect a building, we don't need this one. To protect a normal building, we don't need that one. You got the point?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the general schematic of the dry pipe system. This figure is just looks similar to the previous one, the one we discussed, but at the top here we at the after the dry pipe valve, right, we have air or nitrogen, right, and below the dry pipe valve we have water filled with at the bottom, and this all are closed. This all are closed sprinklers, right? So when there is a fire, the sprinkler system will break, the sprinkler bulb will break, and the air will go out, right? First the air will go out, and after that, due to the difference in the pressure, the valve will open. Once the valve open, the water will go into the piping and the fire system will be the system will work. Again, we have a test connection here similar to the wet pipe system. We have a fire department connection similar to the wet pipe system. We have a gate valve similar to the wet pipe system. We have a drain connection similar to the wet pipe. Everything is just similar to the wet pipe system except the dry pipe valve arrangement and the compressors and the accessories. Now, how this system activate? What is happening? This figure is just wait a moment. What is happening here? You are able to see this figure, right?
Yeah, the figure is clear, but seems to be the text is duplicated or something.
Yeah, no problem. The text you can take from the book, I will explain that one. So normally this is just no, we don't need pressure release device in this system. You know, normally when there is a fire, the sprinkler system will break. When the system will break, all the air will release from the sprinkler orifice only. It will take some time. Once the air released, after that, due to the pressure differential, the valve will open from this location and water will go inside the system. We don't need a pressure release device. So one idea regarding the working principle for the dry pipe valve, right? This is the area below. This is the area below the valve. This is for the wet pipe area, the water area, and this area is for this area is the dry area. So if there is a 100 psi water pressure at the bottom of the riser, right? Pressure in the range of 20 to 30 psi, around 30 psi is enough to hold that pressure. Because you know we have a bigger area at the top and the lesser area at the bottom. So as for the basic science, the pressure equals to force by area. As for the basic science, pressure equals force by area, this one. So the higher the area, the higher the force, right? If you want to calculate the force, so force equals to pressure into area. So in our case, the area is high at the top, but pressure is low. So multiplying this together will go higher than the downside. So from the top side, always, you know, the air will close the valve. It will never open the valve until there is a fire. Until there is a fire in the sprinkler system, right? And the system activated, and the pressure in the system or the piping decreases. The moment the pressure goes, the valve will open and water will go into the system. The idea is that, you know, those areas, the building which is protected by the dry system is having temperature below 0 degrees Celsius. So in those areas we need air. Air will not get cooling condition effect like the water, right? So this is the criteria. And this is the table, right? If you can see this table, around 100 psi, 100 psi water pressure can be held by 25 to 33 psi of the air pressure. And this information you will get from the manufacturer who is manufacturing the product and selling to the market. Like we can get this information from the company like Viking, Tyco and all, who is supplying you the dry pipe valve. So they will say you that if your water pressure is 100 psi in the fire protection system, you have to keep a pressure range of 25 to 33 psi into the air line, and so on for all different deviation in the pressures. So how many guys got this concept clearly? If there is someone, I will again going for the explanation. And also I will share you some of the videos, I will share you some of the videos, or maybe after the break I will try to play some video here for our understanding regarding the reference valve and all, to make us understand things easily.
Okay.
Because there is a video which is not showing in the blackboard. I think I have to play that video. I will play this after the break. Maybe after some time we'll take a break and we'll go. Now for the deluge system, right? The meaning of deluge.
We'll take a break now, Mr. Rabi, or later on?
I think we can take a break and we'll be back at 5:40. And then 5:40 to 6:40 we'll go all the way for the another session.
Okay, that will be good.